February 24th, 2016, Wednesday of the second week of Lent.
A reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah. The people of Judah and the citizens of Jerusalem said, "Come, let us contrive a plot against Jeremiah. It will not mean the loss of instruction from the priests, nor of the counsel from the wise, nor of messages from the prophets. And so let us destroy him by his own tongue. Let us carefully note his every word. Heed me, O Lord, and listen to what my adversaries say. Must good be repaid with evil, that they should dig a pit to take my life? Remember that I stood before you to speak in their behalf, to turn away your wrath from them." The word of the Lord.
The response is, "Save me, O Lord, in your kindness. You will free me from the snare they set for me, for you are my refuge. Into your hands I commend my spirit. You will redeem me, O Lord, O faithful God. Save me, O Lord, in your kindness. I hear the whispers of the crowd that frighten me from every side, as they consult together against me, plotting to take my life. Save me, O Lord, in your kindness. But my trust is in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. In your hands is my destiny. Rescue me from the clutches of my enemies and my persecutors. Save me, O Lord, in your kindness."
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. As Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside by themselves and said to them on the way, "Behold, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priest and the scribes, and they will condemn him to death, and hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and scourged and crucified, and he will be raised on the third day." Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee approached Jesus with her sons and did him homage, wishing to ask him for something. He said to her, "What do you wish?" She answered him, "Command that these 2 sons of mine sit, one at your right and the other at your left, in your kingdom." Jesus said in reply, "You do not know what you are asking. Can you drink the chalice that I am going to drink?" They said to him, "We can." He replied, "My chalice you will indeed drink, but to sit at my right and at my left, this is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father." When the 10 heard this, they became indignant at the 2 brothers. But Jesus summoned them and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones make their authority over them felt. But it shall not be so among you. Rather, whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. Just so, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." The Gospel of the Lord.
February 24th, Wednesday of the second week of Lent. The first reading comes from Jeremiah the prophet, chapter 18, verses 18 to 20. The people of Judah and the people of Jerusalem don't like Jeremiah the prophet. He's been prophesying that the difficulties that they're facing are their own fault. They've turned away from the Lord, and they should expect the consequences of their choices. They don't want to hear that. In fact, they consider Jeremiah to be a bit of a traitor, because he's telling the people that they shouldn't fight against the Babylonians. They should just surrender and accept their fate. And so Jeremiah is being plotted against, And he calls upon the Lord and says, why do I deserve this? I'm just trying to help these people, and they're attacking me. It's not fair. We have to remember in ministry, we don't always get a good response. That very often people will reject us, not because of who we are, but because they're not ready to hear the message, because they're hurting, and rejecting us is a sign of their response to their hurt, for some other reason we can't even figure. If we do what is right, then we've done what is right, and that's the only thing important. The Gospel is from Matthew 20, 17 to 28. Jesus predicts his passion, that he's going up to Jerusalem to suffer and die. And the mother of the sons of Zebedee, James and John, come up to him, and she asks a favor, that they be able to sit on his right and left when they come into the kingdom. Now in the Gospel of Mark, and remember, the passages found in Mark are always more original, closer to what Jesus actually said. It's the disciples themselves who ask this. In Matthew, who likes the apostles, who wants to protect them, it's the mother. It's a way of distancing the culpability for this question from the apostles. What does Jesus respond? Are you ready to drink the drink of which I'm to drink? And he compares drinking from the chalice to his death, that they're being called to die to themselves to live for him. In fact, Jesus says if anyone doesn't take up his cross, he cannot follow me. Well, the other disciples are a bit upset that this request would have been made because they're jealous, they want this favor. And Jesus says the leaders of the Gentiles might lord it over others. You shouldn't be that way. You should be servants. So notice, even the other disciples are thinking basically the same thing. Jesus is predicting his passion. They're talking about privilege. They don't even realize that the message of Jesus is calling him to the cross and also them. And that's an important message all during Lent. We're not only commemorating what happened to Jesus, we're being called to follow his example each day by dying to ourselves a little more so that we can live with and for him. And may God bless us.